Two fans walked into a professional bike race mid-stage and almost ended someone's career, or worse. Imagine this. You are riding at 60 kilometers per hour. You are surrounded by 150 other riders. Your wheels are inches apart. One wrong move, and you crash. Badly. And then, out of nowhere, a stranger reaches out and grabs you. What you're about to see actually happened. Live on television at one of the most prestigious bike races in the world. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the entire cycling world lost its mind and why the police got involved within hours. Stay right here because this story gets darker the deeper we go. Welcome back. If you're new here, this channel covers the moments in sport that stop the world, the moments that go beyond scores, beyond medals, beyond trophies. Today we're talking about one of those moments, the Giro d'Italia. For those who don't know, let me give you the quick version. The Giro d'Italia, translated simply as Tour of Italy, is one of cycling's three grand tours. Along with the Tour de France and the Vuelta a España, it forms what every professional cyclist considers the holy trinity of the sport. It's brutal, it's beautiful, and it runs for 3 weeks through some of the most stunning and punishing roads in the world. Mountains, cobblestones, rain, heat, crowds lining every road, every hill, every valley. And that's important because at events like the Giro, fans are close, not stadium close, not behind a barrier close. We're talking arm's reach, centimetres. The fans are part of the atmosphere. They are part of what makes cycling unlike any other sport on the planet. But that proximity, that closeness, it comes with an unspoken contract. You are there to cheer. You are there to be part of history. You are not there to become part of the race itself. And on this particular day, at this particular stage, two fans decided to break that contract in the worst possible way. And trust me, when I tell you what actually happened step by step, you are going to be shocked. Keep watching. Let's break this down exactly as it happened. The stage was underway. The Peloton, that massive organised group of riders moving together like one giant organism, was in full motion. Speeds at this point in the race can easily reach 50, 55, sometimes 60 kilometers per hour, even on relatively flat roads. These aren't hobbyists. These are elite athletes on machines that weigh less than 7 kilograms, with tyres barely wider than your thumb. The margins are almost impossible to comprehend unless you've seen it up close. And the fans? They were lined up on either side of the road, cheering, waving flags, holding signs. Completely normal race atmosphere. And then it happened. Two individuals, not standing on the side of the road like everyone else, stepped forward, into the road, into the path of the peloton. Now at this point, you might be thinking, okay, maybe it was an accident. Maybe they misjudged. Maybe they stumbled. No, what the cameras captured, and what millions of people would see within hours, was something far more deliberate. These two people didn't just wander in. They reached out. They attempted to make physical contact with the riders. Think about what that means for 1 second. You have a rider on a bicycle. Both hands need to be available for braking, steering, balance. A peloton has no room for sudden obstacles. If one rider goes down, the riders behind them, coming at full speed, have almost zero reaction time. A single crash in a peloton can take out 5, 10, 15 riders in seconds. We have seen it happen. We have seen careers ended. We have seen bones broken. We have seen riders hospitalised. And on live television, two fans decided to put all of that at risk. One of the most shared clips, the one that truly exploded on TikTok and Reels, showed a rider physically pushing away a fan's hand. The rider's face said everything. That combination of shock, fury, and pure adrenaline all in 1 millisecond expression. The kind of face you make when something terrifies you and enrages you at the exact same time. Now here's the part that most people missed in their reaction. And it changes everything about how we understand what happened. Stay with me. The fans had also, and this is what pushed it from incident to viral moment, filmed it themselves. Or at least someone in that group had a phone out. Multiple angles exist. The race cameras got it. Spectator cameras got it. By the time the stage was over, The footage was everywhere. And the cycling community, they didn't just react. They erupted. Comment sections, forums, Twitter threads, Reddit posts, cycling YouTubers, ex-professionals, current professionals, team managers. Everyone had something to say, and almost all of it was the same message. This cannot be tolerated. This cannot happen. This has to have consequences. And it did. Here's where the story gets even more interesting. The race didn't stop. It couldn't. These are professional athletes in the middle of a 3-week event worth millions of euros in contracts, sponsorships, and a prize money. The stage finished. The riders came in. The standings were updated. But behind the scenes, the machinery had already started moving. Race officials had the footage. Law enforcement had the footage. The organisers of the Giro, RCS Sport, were aware. And within hours, Italian police had tracked down the 2 individuals responsible. Let that sink in for a moment. Within hours, in the middle of a multi-stage race happening across the entire country of Italy. They found them. And honestly, given how much footage existed from how many different angles, it's not surprising. These weren't people hiding in shadows. They were standing in front of thousands of people and a national television broadcast. They were, in a word, identifiable. The consequences came fast. Both individuals were banned from the race. They would not attend another stage. They would not be allowed anywhere near the route. And depending on how Italian law applies to the situation, potential criminal charges related to endangering public safety could not be ruled out. The race organisation issued a statement. The message was firm. Behaviour that endangers riders or any participant in the event has no place at the Giro d'Italia. Spectators are guests of the race, and guests behave accordingly. Now and Zeitungsmop. In the immediate aftermath, riders spoke out too. Some did it in press conferences. Some did it on social media. The frustration was palpable and completely understandable. These athletes trained for years. They sacrifice enormous amounts, their bodies, their time, their families, to compete at this level. To have that threatened by someone who simply decided to step into the road is almost incomprehensible to them. One rider, accounts vary on exactly who said what publicly, reportedly described the moment as one of the most frightening of their racing career. Not the mountains, not the rain, not the cobblestones. A fan reaching for them at speed. The social media pile-on was, by all accounts, significant. The fans involved, once identified, became the subject of intense public criticism. Words like reckless and criminal, and yes, attack were being used widely. Whether legally the act constitutes an assault in a formal criminal sense is a question for lawyers. But in the court of public opinion, the verdict came in almost instantly. Guilty. But wait, because I need to tell you about the history of this problem in cycling, because this wasn't the first time. And honestly, what happened before makes this look small. Don't go anywhere. To really understand why this incident hit so hard, why it resonated so deeply, even with people who don't follow cycling, you have to understand something fundamental about how road cycling works as a spectator sport. In almost every other professional sport in the world, there is infrastructure between fans and athletes. There are fences, barriers, seats, security checkpoints. A football fan doesn't wander onto the pitch. A tennis spectator doesn't step onto the court. A Formula One fan does not walk onto the track while cars are racing. But in road cycling, the road is public. The route passes through towns, villages, mountain passes, and city centres. And while barriers exist at certain points, particularly near the start and finish, large stretches of the route are essentially open. You can drive to a mountainside, set up a barbecue, and watch the world's best cyclists ride past 3 feet in front of you. It is genuinely unique, and it is genuinely wonderful, but it requires a kind of collective responsibility, an unspoken agreement between the event and the public that says, we are giving you this access. Please respect it. And most people do. The overwhelming majority of cycling fans are passionate, respectful, and deeply knowledgeable about the sport they love. They travel hundreds of miles to stand in the rain on a mountain and cheer for riders who pass in under 30 seconds. They paint messages on the road, they wear costumes. They create an atmosphere that simply doesn't exist anywhere else in sport. But every few years something goes wrong. There have been incidents before. Fans jumping out too late, signs being held too far into the road. The famous and incredibly dangerous tradition of running alongside riders on climbs, which has resulted in collisions and close calls countless times. And then there was the 2021 Tour de France. A spectator holding a sign stepped directly into the path of the Peloton on a descent. The result was a catastrophic crash. Multiple riders went down. Injuries, chaos. The spectator fled. International news. The person was eventually identified and faced legal proceedings. The cycling world did not forget that day. So when footage of the Giro incident appeared, when people saw someone reaching out to physically touch a rider, the memory of that crash was right there, right in everyone's minds. This is why the reaction was so fast, so loud, so unified. Because the community has been here before. Because they know exactly how quickly fan interaction can turn into tragedy. Now let's talk about the internet. Because this incident didn't just make news and it went properly, genuinely viral. And it's worth understanding exactly why. First, the live broadcast factor. This happened on television, in real time. Millions of people were watching the race unfold when the incident occurred. That immediacy is electric. There is something primal about watching something dangerous happen live. It creates an urgency that a recorded clip simply cannot replicate. Second, multiple camera angles. Because of where it happened and the number of people filming, the incident was captured from several perspectives. That's crucial for virality. One angle generates discussion. Multiple angles generate obsession. People comparing clips, analysing frames, looking at faces, reading body language. Third, the fans uploaded it themselves. Yes, in a move that is either spectacularly oblivious or spectacularly arrogant. Or both. Footage connected to the people involved made it onto social media before the stage had even finished. The internet did the rest, and here's the detail that nobody was talking about in those first 24 hours, but which tells you everything about what really happened and why. Stay right here. Fourth, the emotional clarity. There's no ambiguity in the footage. The rider's reaction, that instinctive push away, that look of pure shock and fury, reads instantly across language, culture, and sporting knowledge. You don't need to understand cycling to understand that expression. You understand it the moment you see it. That's the recipe for a viral moment. Universally legible emotion, live footage, multiple angles, clear stakes, instant consequences. TikTok and Instagram Reels algorithms reward exactly this combination. Short clips of a dramatic moment, easily shareable, emotionally immediate. The views climbed fast, millions within the first day. Comment sections filling up with people who had never watched a moment of cycling in their lives, but had very strong opinions about what they'd just seen. And the cycling community, a passionate, fiercely protective group, was out in force, providing context, expressing outrage, tagging race organisers, calling for action. The hashtags were trending within hours. The news outlets picked it up by the evening. By the next morning, it was international news. So where does this leave us? Let me ask you a question, and I want you to genuinely think about it. How do you protect athletes in a sport where the entire appeal is the lack of separation between them and the public? That's the dilemma. That's the impossible balance that cycling's governing bodies, race organisers, and fan communities have been wrestling with for decades. And incidents like this, whether they're accidental, reckless, or deliberately provocative, make that balance even harder to maintain. Because the instinctive response is to add more barriers, more security, more checkpoints, more separation. And to some extent that's necessary. Better training for race marshals, clearer communication to spectators about what is and isn't acceptable, more visible security presence, particularly at high-risk points like narrow roads, descents, and the final kilometres. But barriers change the experience. Separation changes the atmosphere. The day cycling becomes a fully cordoned-off event, the day you watch from bleachers behind a fence, is the day something essential about the sport disappears. The sport's relationship with its fans is its greatest strength and, in moments like this, its greatest vulnerability. Most people, the overwhelming majority, come to the roadside because they love the sport. They want to be close to something extraordinary. They want to feel part of an event that stretches across an entire country. They wait for hours for 30 seconds of passage, and they scream their lungs out, and they go home with memories that last a lifetime. Those people deserve to be protected too. Protected from the minority who treat proximity as permission. The cyclists are professionals. The race is their workplace, their office, their arena. And like any workplace, it deserves basic safety standards. The incident at the Giro is a reminder, an uncomfortable, televised, globally shared reminder, that those standards need to be enforced, consistently, visibly, with real consequences, which is why the speed of the police response matters, why the ban matters, why the public statement from the organisers matters. Because silence sends a message, and so does action. The message sent this time was the right one. Let me bring this home. The Giro d'Italia fan incident is not just a sports story, it's not just a cycling story, it's a story about access, about responsibility, about what we owe to the people whose performances we pay to watch, or in this case, stand by the road to witness for free. Cycling gives fans something almost no other professional sport does. It gives you proximity, authenticity, a chance to stand 3 feet away from some of the most gifted athletes on the planet. Watch the sweat on their faces and the strain in their legs, and cheer for them like you know them. That is a gift. And gifts can be taken away. The 2 fans who stepped into that peloton, whatever their intention, came close to taking that gift away from everyone. A crash at that speed, in a tightly packed group, could have had consequences that no viral video, no ban, no court case could undo. Fortunately, and I think we all need to sit with the word fortunately for a moment, the riders kept control. The worst didn't happen. The race continued. But the conversation it started, that needs to continue too. If you're a cycling fan, if you've ever stood by a roadside and felt that rush as the peloton roared past, you already know the right way to be there. You're part of the solution. You know what the moment asks of you. If you're new to cycling because of this video, welcome. Genuinely, this is an extraordinary sport, full of extraordinary people. Don't let a few seconds of bad behaviour be your lasting impression. And if you somehow don't understand why stepping into a peloton is dangerous, watch the clip again. I want to know your thoughts. Should cycling add more barriers? Or does that change what makes the sport special? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. If you made it this far, thank you. Genuinely. This one mattered. If you found this video interesting, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into the moments that define sport. And share this one, because this story deserves more than a 30-second TikTok clip. I'll see you in the next one.